Hi, ladies. How are you? Happy Friday. Happy weekend. Friday, right? I've had a great day. I did a post earlier today about what a great morning it was, and I just had this topic for a video bubbling up kind of almost all week, I think. Um, so I wanted to talk to you about how to talk to your man about money. So this morning, if you saw my post, I mentioned how we had this big like financial conversation, planning our future, talking about our dreams, our goals, planning for any contingencies or emergencies that could come up, what we want to spend our money on, what we want to save our money for, all that good stuff. So really fun and juicy. And then, just feeling so excited, we went out to eat breakfast because things are open now. It's like the first day that things are open, and at least in my state. So my husband was really excited about that. So we went and this was after a great run in the morning together. We did on our greenway and took the puppy with us and everything, feeling great, good, all those endorphins. And so we went out to brunch. And one thing that we had realized in our dream conversation was um, where we might want to live and what kind of house we might want to have in the near future. And we hadn't even really thought about that before, like realized what our potential options might be if we kind of dream big and allow ourselves to really think about what we want instead of just working within constraints. And the more I work with clients, the more I realize like how often we do this. We think in terms of constraints and don't even allow ourselves to think about goals and ideals and what we would really like and love and want in our lives because we immediately go to, well, but I don't know how that could happen. That's okay. It's all right. Allow yourself to want what you want and think about how great it is. Oh, and if you're watching, please say hi and give me a little like or a heart or whatever you can do. Oh, hi, Ro. Good to see you. I know you have a beautiful house, don't you? A beautiful new house that you manifested. So, yeah, so we're kind of working on that type of plan. And so we had thought about this great area near us, and so that's where we went for brunch. And just sitting outside, a beautiful day. The weather couldn't have been more perfect. The food was perfect. The coffee was perfect. Everything was perfect, and just really flying high. And my husband says, well, I have to thank you for these dreams to me, he said. And I was like, ooh, that's a juicy statement. I love this. Tell me more. And yeah, he's like, yeah, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have any dreams. Like had no dreams before he met me, he was saying. And I mean, literally, his dreams were to travel around, which is still on our list of dreams, right? We still have travel on there. Um, but now with other things, and that he's really, really excited about. And it was just so funny the way he put it that his dream was basically to be homeless, like to travel around with no home. So I just wanted to explain because this keeps coming up with my clients and my paid groups like Awaken the Fire in Your Prince and working with single girls as well as wives that that they really need to learn how to speak their desires and especially around money that I'm finding. So yeah, so I want to explain to you how that how that works. They just got home. So um, where was I? In the middle. Oh, Rose said, how did you get him to say that? How did I get him to say thank you for having the dreams. Oh, well, I just told him what my dreams were. So that's what I want to explain. Um, they just all got home, and it was a little tricky to have this conversation in front of them. So give me 1 second. Hi, girls.
Hello.
Hello. He just took them to play tennis, which they were super excited about. I can't remember my train of thought. Where was I? So talking about our dream conversation. Oh, and so what we were talking about in the wives group, and okay, so so some of my clients would say that okay, so just like thank you. So just like the whole money conversation, how to talk to them about money. Okay, so I have to tell a different story first to get back to that. Um, so I wanted to talk, like illustrate how differently men think than us. Like because we're thinking that we've been and I said this to him at breakfast too. I said, we've been conditioned to think that we shouldn't talk about what we want, that that's greedy. And he's like, I know, isn't that such a shame? And um so I have to teach this to my clients and my students and you guys. Um so Okay, so to illustrate how differently men think than we do, we just don't get it how we need to say things. Okay, so the other day, our cleaning lady was coming, and I said, we need to get ready for her coming. We need to tidy up and make sure things are ready for her to clean. She's going to vacuum, she's going to dust, etc. Right? To me, it's like a no-brainer. Like you know exactly what the cleaning lady's gonna do and you get the stuff out of her way, right? But Derek trying to help me, so sweetly is like, how do we get ready for the cleaning? What do we do? And I said, we got to get everything off the surfaces, off the floors and off the tables and all the surfaces because she's going to clean the surfaces, right? And he's like, okay, all right. But it wasn't clicking. And so he starts like kind of throwing some stuff on the bed. He's like, is she gonna do anything with the bed? I'm like, no, the sheets are clean. But he's like throwing things there. I'm like, why are we throwing things on the bed? And he's like, I just don't get this. He came back to me. It was so cute. He said, I just don't get this. Where is all the stuff supposed to go? And I was like, um, like put it away, right? Like, how is this a question? And he's like, well, like all this stuff? And I'm like, well, if it's supposed to be there, like a decoration, don't put it away. But if it's not supposed to be there, put it where it goes, right? Like, how do you explain this? And he's like, well, I just don't get it. If it's got to be off the surfaces, where does it go? And he's thinking it needs to float. Like where do you put things? It can't float in the air. And I was like, and finally he said, "Oh, you mean like in the drawers? Like in drawers?" And I was like, yeah, sure, in the drawers. If it goes in a drawer, put it in a drawer. I mean, it was just so funny to me how differently we communicate and what we think we understand, right? So to extend this to money, so one of my clients had some money that her parents gave her, and she wanted to talk to her husband about how to spend the money or invest the money or how to use the money, right? And I said, how do you want it used? What do you want it used for? And she said, well, some things on my like personal development and my self-care and beauty that, clothes, whatever. But the rest of it, I want it put away for our future, invested somehow, but she didn't know how exactly. And so I said, well, how do you not want it spent? And she said, well, I don't want it squandered and I don't want it spent on nonsense. And I said, we need to be more specific because he's not going to understand what that means, because if he's spending it, he's choosing to spend it. He's obviously not going to think that it's nonsense or squandered, right? So, but that's what you're going to think when he spends it on something that is not what you would choose, right? So that's why you have to really hone in on, this is what I want it spent on. This is how I want this money used. So, so we had to get specific on our financial dreams and goals. Um, and like how big of a house do we want? What do we want in the house? How many bedrooms? Do we want a pool? What do we want the kitchen to look like? An office, a gym, or what kind of neighborhood? How much land? That kind of thing. How much income do we want to have? How much do we want to spend, like, for our lifestyle, versus like not having any debt to pay, right? So then our expenses are lower. Is this making sense? Um, so that was the conversation that we had. I'm trying to think if there was something else, any other story I was going to tell that just threw me off when they came, because I told them to text me when they got home. Whoops. And they did tell me, but I was already on live, so I was trying to get done before they got home, but I move slow. So anyway, yeah, so he thanked me for having these dreams, and this is what I'm trying to teach women. I did a video with Derek the other day, right? And he just says, like, his potential has skyrocketed. He's working, so much more, like, effectively to provide for us. Um, and then, like, today, just driving around looking at the kind of house that I want and the kind of neighborhood that I want, and really planning to achieve these dreams that he says and thanks me for, that came from me, that he never had before he met me. So I really want to emphasize for women, and I was just saying this in my group program on Wednesday, that your dreams are the North Star for him. He can't navigate without knowing what you want. He might be the captain, but he needs to know where on the planet we're going, right? So, I'm just, as many ways as I can, I'm just trying to encourage women to voice your desires, express your desires and your preferences, and be specific, be clear, because he can't read your mind. He's not a robot. And I get this all the time. How do you get him to do things for you? He's not a robot. He has free will. He has a tender heart. You have to be good to him. You have to be supportive and be encouraging and appreciative, most of all, of his hard work. And that kind of general positivity and positive environment, like building up kind of energy, is what gives him a purpose and makes him want to move forward. And one of the points in our session last week was that he is motivated when he is the solution to getting you what you want or solving a problem. He cannot be motivated by thinking that he's the problem. Okay, so how you frame your desires and challenges and what you need in life really depends on him being the solution, or being part of the solution, at least, that he can achieve it for you. And that's how he can move forward and make it happen, right? And that's what we want. So is this making sense, ladies? Do you have any questions? What do you think? Are you so excited to motivate and inspire your man and tell him what you want? And it really is just that simple, to tell him what you want. Just say it. Don't apologize for it. Don't take it back. Don't try to soften it or make it easier to hear. Like, that doesn't help him. That would just confuse him. He's a strong man and he knows he can help you, you know, help make you happy. So he's going to go out there and do it. And it's not a matter of, he's not going to be afraid, right? So if you act like you're afraid, that he should be afraid, that he's going to be unhappy of what you're saying, then that's insulting. And he's like, well, then that's not motivating to me. That's, you just insulted me, by saying it in such a way that I can't help you, or I shouldn't want to help you. Like that's not gonna push him forward, or pull him forward like the North Star does. Does that make sense? Is that, is this resonating with you? Please let me know what you think. And what questions do you have? And thank you for asking your question, Ro. I hope I answered it. Okay. Well, it was so great to chat with you, ladies, and I hope this is helpful to you. And I'd love to chat privately as well if you have any specific relationship challenges, or challenges talking to your husband about what you want, getting what you want, and being happy in your relationship. I'll go ahead and put the scheduling link right in the comments. And I will talk to you again soon. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.